God is doing, or just tune in and listen, you're in the right place. All right. Big Nick, thanks for being here today.
Yeah, no problem, man. Thanks for having me.
No, I appreciate it, man. I was sharing with you a little bit before we started recording that I kind of follow your social media stuff, and I was really encouraged by what you're doing. One of the things I noticed is that you share God's word, but you also have stuff up on your page before it looks like that you were really going actively hard for God. And so I just wanted to kind of hear from you and hear a little bit about your testimony, and maybe you could share with the world what happened.
Sure. I'm assuming you're referring to like YouTube content that was up before, right?
TikTok, I was on there.
TikTok. Oh, okay. Yeah, for the most part, actually, when I got saved and I started going hard with the gospel, I had a lot more TikTok content that I was just like, all right, I don't want it on my page anymore, But yeah, man, no, it's been such a crazy journey. Everything happened last year with the lockdown, and for the first few months, I guess I was just getting really red pilled. You know what I mean? Like I was kind of figuring out about the occult, about politicians, celebrities, and like I was just like, whoa, this is crazy. Like I never expected this stuff to be real. This stuff is what you see in the movies,
Yeah.
But also that's why they put this stuff in the movie so we can't discern truth and what's fiction.
Well,
But
wow. Talk about that. Yeah.
yeah, that's called predictive programming. We'll say that for another time. But
Okay, yeah.
so basically, yeah, I was just kind of getting red pilled, and I was seeing all this demonic, wicked stuff that people were doing behind closed doors, and it was all getting exposed. Documentaries were coming out, and so I was just like, whoa. I was like, this is a lot of information. God hit me with a freight train of information, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know what to expect. I was just like taking it all in, and I'm like, all right, so then where does the bottom of the rabbit hole end? You know what I mean? Which obviously through Jesus, but I'll explain to you how I got there. So then I was like looking up this thing called Bohemian Grove, right? And actually Alex Jones exposed it like a while back, and he had got video footage of what they were doing inside of Bohemian Grove, and they're all worshiping this owl demon called Molech. And so, and I also seen that when these politicians were getting exposed, that Molech was like a prevalent conversation in their private emails. So I'm like, okay, who's this Molech dude? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I was like, well, all right, it seems like this is all satanic. So let's just see what the Bible has to say about that. And so there was like 100 verses about it in the Bible. I'm like, all right, I got to start getting this book because I'm on a quest for knowledge, and I don't want to just stop here, right? So I ordered a Bible on Amazon. Actually, my first Bible was the King James Version, but recently I got ESV because I've just been like, I don't know, man. KJV is a very rich text, but that was like my first ever Bible.
It'd be a little much.
It's a lot, yeah. But so I was reading into that and whatever, and like I still wasn't saved at the time, but I was still kind of curious about God and Jesus, you know what I mean? And it wasn't until a few months later, and this is when I was in Hollywood. I was in the Hollywood Hills when this was all happening, right? Like, and I pretty much gained the world in a sense, but it just wasn't enough because this world won't satisfy you, But I was just like, one day I just repented and gave my life to Jesus like a few months later, because it just hit me, right? It didn't hit me at first that like, okay, satanic rituals are real, Satan is real, God is real. I was slowly getting deprogrammed. It wasn't just like all at once, but the information was hitting me all at once, So
now you say this happened to you during the pandemic.
Yeah.
Is that correct? And so, let's talk a little bit about that, because, what I'm coming to find out is that there's a lot of people who are saying to me, hey, Michael, listen, during the pandemic, stuff stopped and I can actually see things for what they really were now. And so maybe we could talk a little bit more about that. Well, why does God allow us to have a hard pause in our lives sometimes, such as the pandemic, so we can actually see things a little differently? Why do you think that happens, or why do you think it happened to you?
I believe it happened to me because I was living in LA, and so I was like distracted by everything this world had to offer. You know, parties, women, drugs, whatever. Like I
That'll
was,
happen to you in LA.
yeah, I was in all of it, right? And
Yeah.
like, and so when you're so distracted in uh, the Matrix, I would say,
Yeah.
which is LA, you don't have time to stop and think and just go deep in life, right? And plus, I had a social media career, so the last thing I was thinking about was God. I was thinking about myself, right? It was always me, me, me. Like, I mean, I still treat people with respect, and I didn't really like. I wasn't rude to people like that, like egotistical. But in terms of my relationship with God, I definitely was, you know. And that's all Satan cares about, really. He just doesn't want you to know God. And so, yeah, once everything just stopped, I really like it just put a big pause on everything I was doing and how I was living. And all I had time to do was just learn, you know, because you don't learn this stuff in school, right? Like school just teaches you,
Really?
school just teaches you how to be obedient, how to get good grades, blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah. But like you don't learn the deep philosophies of life in school. If anything, school actually programs you to be more atheistic when they teach you about evolution. You know, they indoctrinate you with sex ed. You know, they're
Uh-huh.
channeling the spirits of fornication and lust at a young age.
Uh-huh.
So everything actually that the school system is designed to do is to bring you further away from God. So I was going through my own schooling, and I guess the internet was like my teacher, but I was also like my own teacher as well.
Yeah.
And when I went through my own schooling and everything else was on hold, I started to realize, oh, wait, like, this is what life is really like. This is what life is about. Oh, demons are real. Satan is real. Wait, God is real. Oh, and then it gave me a flashback to when I was 11 years old and actually had a dream with the Lord as well. And so when I made that connection of way back when I was a kid and now, I'm like, okay, there's a reason why I have this information presented into me today, because Jesus was not letting go of me. You know, he had marked me when I was 11 and I just didn't know it. And, you know, I was just talking about it with my buddy yesterday. Like, even when you get such a divine dream with the Lord, the veil that Satan puts back on you is so quick. Like, within a day after the Lord being in my dream as a kid, like a day later, I was just like living back to my normal life. But when my mom woke me up from that dream, there was this like weird shift of like feeling God's presence and like being back in the natural realm. Because I told my mom that she woke me up from my dream with God, and it was Jesus. And I never referred to Jesus as God at the time because I was actually raised Hindu. So when I think about that experience, and then I realized what I know now, it was like, no, all this was destined to happen for me. Like, he had already marked me, you know.